What is science communication? Science communication is both a field of study and an area of practice that really looks to connect science and society. And it has become increasingly important. In the fall of 2023, the Pew Research Center conducted a study that found that 57% of Americans say that science has mostly a positive effect on society. Now that's down 16% from before the pandemic. They also found that 73% of Americans had a great deal or a fair amount of confidence in scientists to act in the public's best interest. That number was down 14% from before the pandemic. Now, this decline in public confidence is in many other areas as well, such as politics, media, religion, and so it emphasizes the importance of communication in these fields. Now, in science communication, there's a bit of a misunderstanding that all we have to do is if someone doesn't know something, we have to tell them, and then it solves the problem. This is what we call the knowledge deficit approach to communication. And it really doesn't take into the account that there are so many other factors that come into play when we are learning about and understanding science. There's a little bit of a disconnect when it comes to what the public thinks of science and what scientists are doing and what is happening in practice. The general public tends to think that science is about proving things and dismissing uncertainty, but actually science thrives in uncertainty. Science is all about testing and retesting in order to have greater understanding of issues at hand. But that's not always translated to the general public. In the general public, there's a bit of an understanding and a media perception of this kind of recluse scientist genius, right? We have Dr. Emmett Brown from Back to the Future, who's the quirky, solitary inventor. Or we have Walter White from Breaking Bad, who's the chemist anti-hero. And this is what's portrayed in the media, but it's not always what happens in reality. In reality, science is much more of a team sport than an individual activity. And scientists are working together and they're building on past work. Adding to this kind of misunderstanding is the notion that science is just complex. There's a lot of jargon involved, and the ability to have scientific understanding requires a fair amount of knowledge, be it biology, chemistry, physics, and that can be difficult, and not all of us may have that level of knowledge. And then we add to that kind of personal and social factors. For example, my personal political ideology may play a bigger role in my understanding of humans' roles in climate change compared to when I'm presented with scientific evidence. So when we're communicating with audiences, it's important to consider who your audience is and where they come from. What are their personal factors that may contribute to their understanding? Their political beliefs, religious beliefs, philosophical beliefs, their upbringing, right? Their family, and how those may work with their scientific knowledge to shape their understanding of really important issues. So this changes how we approach science communication. Suddenly it's not just about the knowledge deficit and trying to give someone facts to understand what's going on in the laboratory, but it's so much more of a focus on our audience and how we communicate with them and the tools that are at our disposal. So to find out more, watch the next video.